Hey.
Oh, hi. I'm Tracy.
I'm Louie.
Welcome to the Louie File.
Hey, didn't see you coming in.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we're in a 1 Corinthians study, and today finds us in that love chapter.
Hey.
1 Corinthians chapter 13 today.
That's good.
So, in the last video or two, we've been talking about spiritual gifts. So in chapter 12, the Apostle Paul makes the point that the Spirit, there's one Spirit, one Lord, one God, and they're the ones responsible for giving the gifts to the individual members of his body to be used or operated in for others, for the other aspect, the other parts of the body. So the gift and the position of our the position in the body, both of those are something that God chooses and something that God does. He puts us there, He gifts us in a certain way, but it's not really for us, it's for others. So at the end of chapter 12, 1 Corinthians 12, he asks these questions. Are all apostles? Not all are apostles, are they? Not all have the gifts of healing. So he's got all these questions that all the answers really are no. And then he starts talking about these different things at the end of 1 Corinthians 12:30. All do not speak with tongues, do they? All do not interpret, do they? Then he says, but earnestly desire the greater gifts, and I show you a still more excellent way. And this brings us to chapter 13. The more excellent way.
It's love.
And you gave it away.
I did.
All right, so just act like you didn't hear that. We'll get there in a minute. Tracy's going to read for us.
Says, if I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. And if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it is not jealous. Love does not brag, and is not arrogant, does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own, it is not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. But if there are gifts of prophecy, they will be done away. If there are tongues, they will cease. If there is knowledge, it will be done away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, the partial will be done away. When I was a child, I used to speak like a child, think like a child, reason like a child. When I became a man, I did away with childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I know fully, just as I also have been fully known. But now faith, hope, love, abide these three. But the greatest of these is love.
Okay, so chapter 12, he's bringing up all those gifts and body parts, if you want to put it that way. But he's also talking to the Corinthians, who we've already established were immature. So even when God gifts people, and I mean this is kind of true of even today. Sometimes people still in the church are arguing and fussing over the giftings, and who should and who does and who would and who doesn't and why don't you and you should and we all these kind of things about the gifts and what part we play in the body and all that kind of stuff is still a point of contention with some people. So in the middle of his conversation here, or his instruction about the giftings, he puts the brakes on. He goes, let me back up and let's point out the goal and the point here, which is really just love. So it's like you could have every gift known to man, and if you don't have love, you're just making a bunch of racket, he says. So look at verse 1, verse 13, chapter 13, verse 1. If I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. So here he brings up tongues of men and angels.
Interesting.
Now, is he saying this because we all have an angelic tongue, or there are angelic tongues? Is he saying this because Sometimes speaking in tongues means sharing the gospel in someone's native tongue or language, and sometimes it's a prayer language. It's an interesting thing to want to argue and fuss about in the church, but ultimately I love how Paul reconciles this. He says, even if I could do both of these, if I don't have love, I'm just making a bunch of noise.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I mean, so we're going to argue over who's got what gift and exactly how to define that gift to the point where there's no love being displayed.
Yeah.
I mean, that is...
Love kind of gets lost in the argument.
There you go. Love is lost in the argument.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So then he brings up the gift of prophecy, verse 2. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
This just kind of brings everything back down to the lowest common denominator, to where the most uneducated and unskillful and lack confidence, person that lacks confidence, the person that you least suspect or expect to get by and accomplish anything in life can still be number one if they just simply love other people.
Love is the foundation.
And the goal.
Yeah.
1 Timothy, Paul said the goal of our instruction is love from a pure heart, a good conscience, and a sincere faith.
That's good.
So the goal is love.
It is.
Ultimately. And that love is meant to be expressed through these gifts as your place in the body. I love how, so he goes to chapter 12, he talks about gifts. Chapter 13, he's telling us love is the ultimate point. And then 14, we're going to get into probably on the next video, he breaks this down a little bit even more, and he starts talking about edification or building up others is the real goal. All right, so 1 Corinthians 13 verse 3, and it says, and if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing. So we can be sacrificial with our stuff or with our lives in a sense, but if we're coming at it from a place of just sense of duty or some sense of this will make me a better person or people will think more highly of me.
What I just noticed is that, like in verse 2, it's kind of the invisible stuff, knowledge, faith, right?
Yeah.
But then here it's like possessions to feed the poor, surrender my body. I mean, all those things seem to be in the natural.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's hitting on every angle. When you were reading this earlier in verse 3, where he's talking about giving his possessions and offering his body to be burned, I know this isn't directly related to that, but in Philippians 3, the Apostle Paul talked about how he was the Hebrew of Hebrews. He was first in his class, circumcised on the 8th day. According to the law, none better. I mean, Hebrew of Hebrews. I mean, he had all these things that he was having confidence in.
Right.
His knowledge, his heritage, his physical circumcision. I mean, there's a lot of. It's all ultimately nothing without love. And that's what he said. He said, I consider it all to be dung apart from knowing Christ.
And the other thing is that God is love.
Yeah.
So without God,
if you don't,
what's the point?
But if you do not have God, it profits me nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So love here, I've heard people do this before, where they've said God in place of the word love. So let's do that in verse 4. God is patient. God is kind. God is not jealous. God does not brag and is not arrogant. Well, so this is a pretty good way to analyze this. Am I loving this person? Hey, is that love coming from them?
Yeah.
Well, they're awful impatient, and they're awful jealous acting, and they're very arrogant and braggadocious.
Braggadocious.
I used the braggadocious. I broke out the long form word for brag. Braggadocious.
My goodness.
Only love could bring that out.
That's right. There you go.
So am I feeling or thinking? Am I jealous? Am I losing my patience? These are. I mean, I'm not to say that we got to sit around trying to analyze ourselves like that, but this is good ways of thinking about it. Verse 5 does not act unbecomingly. Wonder how you would define that. If someone said, Tracy, what is acting unbecomingly?
I think it's not attractive.
Yeah, okay. It's
Yeah.
not becoming of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. It doesn't make you
kinda-
look good.
Yeah, it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, there you go. It says it does not seek its own, so it's not self-centered or selfish. Now this translation says is not provoked. I think the one that I like a little better is not easily provoked,
Oh,
because I think love God gets provoked.
yeah.
There's evidence in the scripture. If you don't know him, how about chapter 6 of Genesis?
Right.
He was a little provoked at
Yeah.
mankind,
Yeah.
and he was still loved there. So
Sure.
I think it might be a little better to say it's not easily provoked
Yeah.
or quickly provoked. Does not take into account a wrong suffered. So you don't keep a list.
See, and that got me. I was at a job one time, and there was this lady, and she just was not very kind to me. And so I went to someone was saying something, and they're like, "Well, write it down and
Oh yeah,
you know,
document it.
yeah." So I started to do that, and I thought, nope, this is keeping a record of wrong, and I couldn't do it. And
So
it changed-
HR wasn't following the script. wasn't following the
whole,
scripture.
whole different script there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
There you go. That's true. You work for companies that have human resource departments, and I mean, I'm not trying to kick them, but it's like some of the things they ask people to do is directly not what Jesus said.
Yeah.
So you have to make a decision.
Put your pen down.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're kind of rehearsing bad behavior in
Yeah.
your head now.
And then you're going to bring it up later.
And look for it more.
Sure.
It kind of makes you start to look for it more, I think.
For sure.
So love it doesn't seek its own, and it's not easily provoked. And I think not easily provoked. My mom always taught me, to give the other person the benefit of the doubt. In other words, don't get offended immediately and assume that their intention was ill toward. Some people do things to provoke you on purpose, but a lot of people do things that provoke you and they didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of take a breath.
Yeah.
And go, I don't think they meant to
And just,
offend me like
just
that.
let it go.
Yeah. Then you find out later, whatever the truth is, right? But does not take into account a wrong suffered. So we don't keep records. We don't build a case against someone. Verse 6, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. So we don't have a big party when someone does something sinful, or we don't celebrate in their pain or
Misfortune,
yeah.
maybe.
So we don't rejoice in unrighteousness. We don't get a kick out of people's sinful lifestyle.
Right.
But rejoices with the truth. We want the truth.
Yeah.
Love wants the truth. Love wants to know the truth. Verse 7, bears all things.
Wow. Good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm sure, sadly, this is probably true of some folks, but I know my experience with my mom, I can't imagine anything I could ever do that she wouldn't bear with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I mean, so moms are, supposed to be, or ought to be, if the closest thing to a human flesh God, probably to a child. I mean, because
so.
their love is amazing compared even to their own father.
Unconditional.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you just put up with all things. You bear all things. Doesn't mean you like it. Doesn't mean you don't bring it to someone's attention. But you don't give in. You don't throw in the towel and say, I don't love you anymore.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably way off kilter here, but I got to say it because it's in my head. There's a B.B. King song, and one of the lines in the song says, nobody loves me but my mother, but I think she might be jiving too. Let's hope that's not true.
That's right. That's so funny.
So, that's pretty low down, right?
It
When
is,
your mom's
absolutely.
even pulling the fast one on you. All right, so love bears all things, believes all things. All right, does that mean we're gullible?
Mm-mm.
So how does love believe all things? I mean, somebody might say you're gullible.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's being for somebody,
Yeah.
not against them.
Yeah, and you're going to be with them but well, well, if you think about these other things, you're already bearing all things. So if I'm made the decision I'm going to love someone, if God who is love in me is loving others as me, then I'm bearing all these things. Then I'm going to keep my hope, in the right direction.
Yeah.
So what does it say?
Believes all things, hopes all things.
Hopes all things, endures all things.
Yeah.
Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. There's a place somewhere in one of Paul's letters he says that to the pure,
all things
are pure. So it really is about your sight in a lot of respects. If I'm loving you and I'm bearing all things and I'm believing with you and for you and I'm full of hope for you.
Yeah, I think maybe a good example would be if someone brings up something that's negative and then you say, well, the good news is, and then you kind of put a positive spin on it.
And you endure all things. So
Yeah.
you go through, you go through a lot of stuff for those that you love. Some hurts or disappointments come from the person on purpose. Sometimes it's mistakes, sometimes it's bad behavior, whatever it might be. But if you love them, real love is going to behave this way.
Or even if someone's giving you a hard time, to just, root for them and endure.
It's like, how do you keep doing that? Well, let me tell you.
It's God.
Yeah, it's the only way. Love never fails, verse 8.
Can't go wrong.
Never fails. Okay, so I want to tell a quick story. Tracy and I went to our prison. Our opportunity to go. We go to this prison once a month, and last night a young man came up and just flat out said, "How can I be saved?"
I'm so glad you're telling this story. I love this.
And it caught me off guard, but he had tears in his eyes. He's a young guy, younger than me. I could definitely literally be his father, but after I shared with him what God did by way of Christ on the cross, that he joined us in his death, burial, and resurrection, and that through that process, the cross, that God has forever forgiven us, but he's not only forgiven us, he has separated us, rescued us from the domain of darkness. He's given us a new spirit, a new life to walk in newness of life. So I was sharing with him all that, and he looked at me. His tears of sorrow went from that to a big smile on his face, and he said, "Wow, you make that a lot easier or simpler than I thought." Now, right away, I thought, I didn't make it anything.
That's right.
God made this simple. But the reason I bring this up is Tracy and I left there last night, and we were thinking, love is simple.
Yeah.
Love does not complicate things.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to add to the Word of God. But I think those are true statements too.
Yeah.
Love is simple. Love is not complicated. We don't complicate things.
And love never fails.
Love never fails.
Yeah.
That's where we're at in verse 8 here. So it says, "But if there are gifts of prophecy, they'll be done away. If there are tongues, they will cease. If there is knowledge, it will be done away." So while you're fussing about these lesser important things, just remember, love is still there. Love won't fail. It will not. It won't let you
cease,
down.
It won't go away.
Yeah. So if you are fussing about your gift of prophecy or the gift of tongues or whatever, know that they are going to be unnecessary one day. But love will never go out of style.
Thank you, Lord.
It's never going to be
That's good.
unnecessary. Because the goal is love eternally. God, who is love, wants fellowship, relationship, presence with us forever. That's why he did all the things he did for us.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to, okay, I don't have to love you anymore.
Yeah.
That's not true, right? Verse 9 says, "For we know in part, and we prophesy in part." All you can do is give people what you got.
Right.
And it's only part. But when the perfect comes, the partial will be done away. Oh, so when Jesus, the perfect, the whole complete package, shows up, then all the partial stuff, all the seeing through the glass darkly stuff, will go away.
Yes.
Because then we'll know.
Yeah.
Look at verse 11. "When I was a child, like you Corinthians, I used to speak like a child, which means jealousy and fussing and division. I used to think like a child. Oh, my gift's better than yours. Reason like a child. Well, I wonder if human wisdom can get me there. When I became a man, when I grew up,
Right.
and when I grew in my understanding and my maturity in Christ, I did away with childish things. I stopped arguing and fussing about something that God Himself decided for me to have and for you to have.
Right.
Well, I want that gift. And God's like, what, you don't like the gift I gave you?
Yeah. Just put away the childish things.
Stop fussing with your sister or your
Yeah.
brother. Verse 12, for now we see in a mirror or through a glass darkly, through in a mirror dimly. So we all got partial eyesight at the moment. But then face to face.
Wow.
Now I know in part. But then I will know fully, just as I also have been fully known. Wow. So there's a verse, I'm not sure where this is at all right now, but it says that when we see Him, we will be like Him.
I don't know what that's going to be like, but
But when we see Him, we will be like Him. In other words, the full expression and understanding of who He is, who we are in Him, who God is. It's going to be like, oh, oh, the lights come on.
Yeah.
Look at that. I did barely know in part. I thought I knew something,
yeah.
but I didn't know much.
Yeah.
He said, then you're going to know fully, just as you've also been known fully. Verse 13 closes this whole idea up. But now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. So faith, hope, and love are really the point, aren't they?
Yeah.
So does the gift God has the gift that God gave you helped you in your faith and your hope and your love? Is the part of the body that you've been placed in giving you opportunity to help others in their faith, hope, and love?
Yeah, I think it's in Hebrews where it says, without faith, it's impossible to please God.
Yeah.
So if you say that the other way, with faith, God is pleased, right? And then Jesus is our hope,
Christ in you, the hope of glory.
the hope of glory, and then love, who God is.
Without love, we're nothing. We're just
Yeah.
a racket.
Yeah,
We're a big clanging nothing.
yeah. Don't be a nothing.
We're just causing a ruckus for no good. No,
Yeah.
I mean a big old loud banging ruckus that's really accomplishing nothing.
Don't be a dung.
Yeah, don't be dung. Wow.
Yeah. The greatest of these is love.
So in the middle of Paul's teaching about gifts to immature Christians, he stops and he reminds them love is the real point.
It is.
And then the next chapter, what we'll get into on the next video, hopefully, 1 Corinthians 14, he starts off by saying, pursue love.
Yeah.
So it's the greatest thing, so why not focus more on that instead of pursuing a specific gift or some talent or some role to play? Why not just love your neighbor?
Yeah.
It's really not that complicated. Love ain't that complicated.
No, and God is love, so we receive love so that we can give love away. So it's not even really for us to keep, it's to give it away.
Yeah.
It's for others. That's the whole point. I love that.
She loves it.
I love you.
All right, well, hey, I think we made it through another one. We're glad that you joined us. We'll catch
Yeah.
you on the next one. We'll see you then.
See ya.